Marvel movies, okay? Let's be real here. You know what a Marvel movie is. You've probably seen at least a dozen of them. There's 34 of these things, dude. 34 Marvel movies, okay? That is 72, rough math. Okay, I'm just gonna assume they're both two. You know what? Whatever. Almost 100 hours of entertainment. Of just cold explosions, dopamine hits, superheroes, anything that you could ever want if you are a superhero fan. We got 34 of these things, okay? And in this video, I'm going to rank them all, okay? But not just that, I'm going to rank every single MCU movie. I am going to be a very brutal judge here. And the good news is because everybody's seen a Marvel movie, I don't have to go through the plot of each of these. I'm just going to be a critic from moment to moment, okay? I'm going to tell you where I believe the MCU went wrong, because let's be real here, okay? The MCU was at an all-time low. We just had like a whole showcase of how Marvel is going to ditch Kang the Conqueror, and we're going back to Doctor Doom, but Doctor Doom is now Iron Man, and Iron Man's back for it's a lot of stuff, okay? You're going to understand my pessimism about halfway through the video where I might just lose it. But I don't want to have a long intro here, okay? But I am going to say this. You need to subscribe. 80% of you are not subscribed to this channel, okay? We are trying to get to 50K subscribers by the end of the year, 100K subscribers by July of next year, and the good news is because you guys are the absolute greatest fan base of all time, we are on track to do that. And I want to give you guys entertainment. I'm not selling you a membership. I don't got a crypto scam. And if I don't have anything that's a scam. Just subscribe and let me entertain you. And with that long-winded intro out of the way, let's get into these Marvel movies, and here we go. The Incredible Hulk. Okay, I am roughly going to put these in order, but if somebody gets mad at me because, oh, well, Ant-Man came before Doctor Strange, I don't care, okay? It's roughly in the same order. Incredible Hulk, first Marvel movie, okay? First Marvel movie I've ever seen, okay? They didn't even have Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo was barely an actor at this point. They still have, Norton. I forget his name. He's the guy from Fight Club that's like Brad Pitt, but not actually Brad Pitt. Pretty cool dude. But he played the Incredible Hulk. Also, fun fact, Hickson Gracie, the brother of Hoist Gracie, the dude who won the very first UFC event, he's in this movie, and this was his acting debut. Just little lesser known stuff. I cover a lot of MMA content on the second channel, so I love giving you some trivia. But with all that out of the way, let's talk about the Incredible Hulk. Heavily glazed, very forgettable. People look back on the glory days of I remember when the Hulk was mad and he fought the Abomination, which is basically just Booger Hulk. It's a superhero movie before superhero movies had that thing. This movie, it's a difficult one to rate because at one hand, I like the idea of Hulk having a movie, but there's a reason we never got another one of them that wasn't just the contract disputes. We had contract disputes with Spider-Man, but we still got a lot of Spider-Man movies. They didn't fight for Hulk because Hulk is objectively... Incredible Hulk wasn't that good of a movie. I'm just gonna say it. Okay? This also technically wasn't made by Disney. This was a weird one, but it's still technically in the Marvel universe, so that's why I'm putting it in the MCU, even though technically it wasn't a Disney Marvel movie. As a movie, it's just meh. Okay, it really is. I'm not gonna glaze it, bro. A lot of people like doing that. Incredible Hulk, meh. It's a meh movie, dude. I wish I could tell you something that stuck out to me outside of the fight scenes between the Hulk and Abomination, which is oh, cool, a superhero movie has a CGI fight that looks cool. Literally every single one of these things ever. So, yeah, I have to put it in meh. Iron Man. Dude, this is what sold Disney that they could make a lot of money. This proved the experiment of a superhero being able to make a good movie. To give you an idea, Iron Man was a B tier, C tier, superhero in the comics. After Robert Downey Jr. was playing Iron Man, they moved him up to one of the big three. Iron Man was never meant to be one of the big three. But look, he is, okay? Like, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., bro, had one of the greatest redemption arcs in Hollywood history and became Iron Man, and this movie just is objectively good. Okay? Now, I want to say this just so I can parrot it later in the video. There was a time where MCU movies used to have to work as a movie. You're going to understand in a minute, and I'm going to tell you where I think that shift came in. But back in the day, superhero movies had to be good movies because there's a lot of people who just didn't care for superheroes. And another thing I gotta bring up, this was when Marvel movies were like weirdly realistic. This is what I mean, okay? The current Marvel movies, okay? Let's just go Infinity War. In Infinity War, we are fighting Purple Josh Brolin using the Infinity Stones in a gauntlet that he's going to use to snap away half the life, and he has an alien race that follows him, and there's a wizard that works for the people. In Iron Man, he's fighting the Taliban, and he's an arms dealer. They call him the Merchant of Death. Like, the point I'm trying to make is Iron Man movies, superhero movies as a whole, used to have to sell you on the realism. Like, I want you to think about this, because I had, like, a long discussion with this. Iron Man had more trouble fighting Al-Qaeda than he did fighting Thanos. Like, I want you to think about that. The Taliban was able to get him held down for, like, 6 months and, like, whooped his ass for 6 months. Thanos narrowly killed him one time. That's just the point I'm trying to make here. Now, Iron Man as a movie, great movie, bro. I gotta put it in great. It's almost peak, but it's not the greatest of Marvel. It's arguably one of, if not the greatest solo superhero movies ever made. Okay? We're going to get into what I believe the best one is, but Iron Man is objectively a great movie, and it works as a movie, and it's a great superhero movie. Captain America, the First Avenger. Unpopular opinion, this was probably one of the most forgettable MCU movies ever made. Like, it is weird. Like, don't get me wrong. Captain America works as a movie. It is a good war movie. Okay? And again, they kept it kind of realistic. You fought evil Mustache Man. Okay? Like, we're fighting aliens and extra-dimensional multiversal beings. Captain America was throwing hands with the evil Mustache Man henchmen. Okay? Also, Red Skull's in this, and it's pretty cool. I don't know what it was. As a kid, I was just not a fan of this movie. Maybe it was my fried attention span, but Captain America just didn't hit like all the other superhero movies, okay? As a movie, though, it does work, but I would say it's not great, it's just good. Now, don't get me wrong, Captain America has some bangers, but the first one, it was just good. I'm gonna put it in good. I think good is a valid one. Thor! This is one of the most heavily glazed. I say this a lot, but like, people have this weird nostalgia over Phase 1. Okay, it is cringe that they call it Phase 1. People have this weird nostalgia around, like, the original superhero movies. Like, Thor was a great movie. No, it wasn't. The original Thor movie was awful. It was such a bad movie. Incredible Hulk is a better movie than the first Thor movie. The coolest part about the Thor movie was the beginning, where they went into, like, Jotunheim and fought the giants. And that little scuffle he had with Loki. The entire middle part of this movie is legitimately some of the most filler I've ever seen. And on top of that, this was when they had to realize that all these superheroes had to be buff. So they had, like, these scenes where they're just like, hey. It has, like, the Michael Bay syndrome, okay? Like, it just feels like, can we just put the budget into the plot? Because Thor is objectively just one of the weakest of all the superhero movies. Is it garbage? No, it's the bottom of meh. It's just not good. I almost want to put it in garbage just to, like, illustrate how mid this movie was. Okay, like, but Thor, in my mind, might be the bottom of meh. If it's worse than Thor 1, then it's going to be a garbage movie. Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2. Okay, people weirdly hate on this movie. Like, they're like, oh, the plot was meh, oh, the villain was forgettable, I don't know. Tony Stark has his buddy Rhodey, who was recast because Terrence Howard believed he unlocked the secrets of the universe, and he decided 2 + 2 equals I make more money than Robert Downey Jr. I'm not kidding you. That was actually one of the reasons Disney kicked him out, because he said that he was the main character of Iron Man. Yep, that guy figured out the sacred geometry of the universe. Iron Man 2, however, it's a good movie. Like, it's weird that how many people hate on this movie. Is it a great movie? No. But, like, hot take here, I think Iron Man 2 introduces some interesting stuff in the lore of Iron Man that I wish they came back on later. Not like, number 1, Whiplash. They never call him Whiplash. That's why he's kind of like a forgotten dude. Objectively had cool armor. Now, was the final fight scene kind of lame? Yeah. He was like, the power of friendship. And then they did like the repulsor blast together, and then it blew him up. Now, looking back on it, that was actually a really mid-final fight. However, the racetrack fight was objectively pretty cool. I remember thinking, like, the suitcase turning into the armor was one of, like, the coolest things. Yeah, no, it's just good. I'm going to put it in mid-good, actually. Captain America might have a little bit more charm than Iron Man 2. It's not a meh movie, though. I will stand on business defending that. Avengers. Okay. The original Avengers, 2012. Damn, I'm old. This is where I believe Disney realized that they don't have to make good movies. They just have to make good superhero movies. Avengers is not that good. Okay? Hot take. Avengers feels like a movie where we're like, it feels like a quest to grab shit, and then everybody like hates each other in the beginning and then become a team, and then through the power of friendship and superhero-dom, we're gonna save New York City after we just blew it up. This was also the start of like, the entirety of New York is gonna get blown up, but we're gonna say that we saved the day. I remember being a kid being like, nobody died. No civilians were harmed. Like, really? The giant fucking floating earthworm through the air didn't kill anybody? Hilarious, bro. What are the cool parts about this movie? The team up. The original team up scene was pretty cool. But that's about it. Every other part about this movie is either forgettable or mid. And this is where I believe Disney realized that they could have an objectively bad movie and then be like, oh, well, the power of friendship and heroes and CGI. Blockbuster. And they realized that if we took multiple superheroes and put them in the same movie, it actually makes people think the movie's better and they don't have to do anything. Okay. Bottom of good. It's not as bad as Thor and Hulk, but it is not great. It is not peak. I'll defend that on the day. I'll defend it. Iron Man 3. Okay, if you were to ask me right after this movie came out, what do I think about it? I would have said this is a good movie with a few flaws with the villain. Well, I probably wouldn't have said that. I was a child. But now, Iron Man 3, that's what I would say. If you ask me now, I think this is one of the most pointless movies ever made. So, like, the Mandarin come in, right? So the Oh, I forgot! They completely destroyed the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. The Mandarin are useless, bro. Oh my god. The more I'm thinking about this, dude, Shang Chi also destroyed the Mandarin. This movie's dumb, actually. Oh my gosh, this movie was dumb. So, okay, to catch you up if you're having trouble remember. So, Iron Man is getting attacked by the Mandarin who locked him up in number 1. They weren't actually the Taliban, they were the Mandarin. So, they lock him up. And then Iron Man survives the explosion of his home, and then he goes to a place, meets a kid, and they rebuild the suit, and the people are trying to come after him, and there's some cool fight scenes. Oh, and the bad guys have this power where they have like a fire inside of them, and they can heal injuries. Literally is never elaborated on again. But then Iron Man tries to find the dude who said that he was going to blow up the stuff. Come to find out, he's a paid actor, literally a paid actor. And then they find the real Mandarin, who we actually find out later wasn't actually the real Mandarin, so nobody was actually the Mandarin in this movie. This movie is pointless. Garbage. Iron Man 3 is a garbage movie. Yes. I'm done. This movie is stupid. Thor the Dark World. Speaking of stupid, Thor the Dark World is objectively one of the worst movies. Let me tell you this. Marvel was actually considering just destroying the Thor character and not even giving him a trilogy because of how bad Thor has been received. From Thor 1 to Avengers to Thor the Dark World, he was one of the worst Let me tell you something. There was a time where Thor was seen worse than we see Ant-Man. Like, you know how Ant-Man's one of the most forgotten superheroes in the entirety of Marvel and nobody really cares? That was Thor in the early 2010s. Nobody cared about Thor. He was a cool dude. He was hot because he was Chris Hemsworth. Other than that, there wasn't much going for him. And his chick was Natalie Portman. And, yes. Other than that, really no. Loki is cooler in this movie. But other than that, is the bad guy's name Malekith? Malekith is one of the most overly used names in fiction. Like, how many times is Malekith used? I feel like that's used a lot. Oh, and he fights the Dark Elves and stupid garbage. I'm not even going to entertain it much more. Captain America, the Winter Soldier. Oh! Gave me faith in the entirety of the Captain America franchise. It is one of the better movies, okay? Like, it's weird. Captain America works as a movie. Like, Iron Man, okay? Iron Man has the ability to work as a movie and not as a superhero movie. Captain America is like a weirdly good movie, not just a superhero movie. I know, take a side every single time I say movie, bro. I'm dying. The introduction as the Winter Soldier with Bucky, if that's a spoiler for you, how old are you, bro? Anyways, so the Winter Soldier comes into this. I remember thinking the Winter Soldier was one of the coolest things in the entirety of Marvel, and he was. The Winter Soldier is the definition of the bad guy when you fight him as a boss, and then when you unlock him as a character. They hardcore nerfed Bucky. This man was throwing the ones, the twos, and the three-piece in the soda on Steve, and was winning the fights. It's actually a great movie. I'm putting it in great. It's almost peak. Nope, it's not quite peak. It's better than Iron Man. As of right now on the list, Captain America the Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie up to this point. But that's gonna change really soon. Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay. You're gonna realize I'm a big James Gunn fan. I understand he said some dicey stuff back in 2007. He said a few edgy jokes. I'm sorry. If I went back through your life a decade ago, I could find something that I could use as dirt. Guardians of the Galaxy, all three of them are bangers, bro. They're all good movies. James Gunn has such an interesting touch that I'm actually pretty excited for him doing DC movies because I think he could do it well. Guardians of the Galaxy, Chris Pratt from Parks and Recreation, Gamora, Rocket Raccoon. Dude, it's just good. It really, is it? It's better than Captain America. I'll defend that. Guardians of the Galaxy, I'm gonna put it as a great movie. Yep, I'm putting it as a great movie. It's in my top 3 out of this point. It's better than Avengers, better than Iron Man 2, better than Captain America. It's just a dumb, fun movie. And it has bangers, bro. Did you know that when Guardians of the Galaxy released, they had an upsurge on Amazon for cassette players? Like, cassette players were brought back for music after that's a real thing, bro. I went down a rabbit hole of that. Guardians of the Galaxy is a great movie. Is it better than Iron Man? No, Iron Man's too nostalgic for me. I gotta put it up there. Avengers, Age of Ultron. Okay. I'm going to make a lot of people mad here. Because Avengers, Age of Ultron, people like to crap on it a lot. Do I think it's a great movie? No. But I think it's better than Avengers. I don't think Avengers is that good. Like I put it at the bottom of good. If anything is worse than the original Avengers, it immediately goes as a meh movie. Avengers Age of Ultron feels like a better movie. Because Ultron. Dude, Ultron is a cool villain. The worst part about Avengers Age of Ultron is I feel like they fumbled with Ultron. Ultron is such a cool idea of a character. It's basically Skynet, but it's like a philosopher. The final scene where it's Ultron talking to Vision is one of the most weirdly deep scenes in any Marvel movie. Like, it's very rare That, like, Marvel will go out of nowhere and be like, yes, and then they'll have, like, a super philosophical moment. Age of Ultron has one of those. Now, it has problems. I'm not going to put it in great. I'm going to put Age of Ultron just above Avengers, below Iron Man 2. Doctor Strange. Banger. Okay. Iron Man 1, Captain America 1, Doctor Strange, to me, as of right now, are the best starters of a trilogy for a superhero. Up there. In fact, Doctor Strange with Benedict Cumberbatch, that original movie, I'm going to put that above. This one's tough because it doesn't go above. It goes above Iron Man 2. Okay. Does it go above Captain America? That's tough. I remember more about Doctor Strange. However, the main villain of Captain America is more memorable, Red Skull. I don't remember what the main villain of Doctor Strange was, if I'm going to be brutally honest with you. But the movie's just pretty good. It's a good movie. I have good memories with it. It's a good movie. There we go. Ant-Man. Okay. The original. It's meh. Like, I'm actually going to be honest with you, bro. I was going to try to defend it. The original Ant-Man movie, like, at best, it's good. Nobody says the original Ant-Man was great. It's an enjoyable, fun movie. And it's mostly enjoyable because of Paul Rudd. But other than that, if Paul Rudd was literally anybody else, this movie would be brutally meh. I'm going to put it in the meh. Is it the worst movie ever? No. I think it means more than Iron Man 3. But, like, it's just meh. It really is, bro. Captain America Civil War. Peak. Our first peak of the entire tier list. It's so good. Like, this movie is so good that people think that this is an Avengers movie. That's how crazy good this movie. This is better than... Civil War might be my favorite Avengers movie. Not Avengers movie. Favorite superhero movie as of this far through the entirety of Marvel. It's just... Captain America versus Iron Man. I remember when people used to genuinely get pressed over who's in the right, Iron Man or Captain America. I understand the arguments for both. Oh, another one. Black Panther and Spider-Man are in this movie. I remember when the internet broke when we saw Spider-Man appear here. People thought it was Andrew Garfield. I'm not even kidding you. Dope. It was Tom Holland. Black Panther with Chadwick Boseman. May he rest in peace. Is such a great casting, and I love the suit that he has here. Badass, love it, peak. No question. Civil War, up to this point, is my favorite MCU movie, no question. Spider-Man Homecoming. Okay. Spider-Man Homecoming is the weakest first... Well, no, it's not. I was going to say Spider-Man Homecoming is the worst first Spider-Man movie, but it's better than Andrew Garfield's. Sorry, I just have to say it. Spider-Man Homecoming, like, it's good. It's good. Like, it's a more enjoyable watch than a lot of these. I'm going to put Spider-Man Homecoming above Avengers Age of Ultron. Is it above Iron Man 2? Yeah, I'd slightly put it above Iron Man 2. I watched this in a drive-through theater. Great movie. It's not great. It's a good movie. I gotta choose my words more wisely. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay. There was somebody who said that this was their favorite movie. You have to be trolling. Ant-Man and the Wasp is just not that good. The Wraith? I think that was the main villain. I think it was the Wraith. I mean, it's worse than the original Ant-Man. Like, that's how bad it was. I actually think Ant-Man and the Wasp is garbage. Yeah. You could get rid of these movies and I would have absolutely no qualms about it. It's just not that good. I'm sorry, I gotta say it, man. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 2. Every single Guardians of the Galaxy movie is a banger, but sadly, and this is gonna sound blasphemous, this is probably the weakest of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I felt like this was a filler to get to Infinity War, and then for the third Volume 3. This felt like a filler movie. Now, we found out some stuff about Star-Lord, where his parentage is, Ego the Living Planet. It's cool. I like it. The final fight scene loses it for me a few points. I'm going to put it notch above Captain America. It's almost as great, but it's the weakest of the Guardians of the Galaxy movie. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. Black Panther. Okay. This is another one of those. Okay. Black Panther. Hear me out, because I'm about to say some pretty blasphemous things. Black Panther, when it originally came out, was one of the most glazed movies I've ever seen. People acted like the original Black Panther is one of the greatest movies ever created in the history of cinema. People compared Black Panther to Shawshank Redemption. People compared Black Panther to The Lion King. People compared Black Panther to Avatar. It's not that good. It's a really good movie. It's not greatest movies of all time level, though. Like, at very most, you could say it's the best solo superhero movie, kind of. Chadwick Boseman is a great casting. It has a great hero and a great villain. What are my problems with it? The final fight scene, actually. The last 20% of this film is some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in Marvel. And this is how weird it was. This movie was so heavily glazed at the time that you legitimately couldn't talk about how bad the CGI was in the final 20% without being called names. I'm sorry. I was mad that the first fight scene between Black Panther and Killmonger was badass, and then the last one was garbage. Like, it's like they spent all the budget on something else in the film. Also, I'm not a biggest fan of the Black Panther's second suit. I like the original suit better. It just looks cooler. I would talk about the story because it was... people said that the original Black Panther movie has one of the best stories ever. It's a ripoff of The Lion King. It's a ripoff of Hamlet. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, the only reason that I'm going that far with it is because of how heavily this movie was glazed. It's a good movie. It's better than Avengers, better than Age of Ultron, better than Iron Man 2, better than Homecoming, better than... It's almost great. It just barely misses the mark, okay? I hope I'm not being too blasphemous here, but it's not quite great. It's a glazed movie. I just gotta say it. Thor Ragnarok. Actually, really good. Thor Ragnarok is the greatest of all the Thor movies, and it's not even close. Thor the Dark World was so bad that they literally changed the entire tone of Thor. Like, Thor feels like Guardians of the Galaxy mixed with the original Thor movie. It's weird, the change of tone, but I dig it. It made Thor more likable. In the first few movies, he was much more uptight. And then now he's kind of like that cool dude. He's basically just Chris Hemsworth. Imagine if you took Ryan Reynolds, put him with Chris Hemsworth. This is what Thor is right now. It made Thor likable. It's a great movie. Like, it's crazy to say, but I think Thor Ragnarok, with how it changed how we perceived Thor... Like, Thor's only a fan favorite character because of Ragnarok. That's a fact. I'm sorry. It's the bottom of great. Anything beneath Ragnarok goes in good. Anything beneath Avengers goes in meh. Yeah. Nothing's peak yet, except for Civil War. Avengers Infinity War. I take that back. Peak. I don't even have to spend much rate in this one. It is the beginning of the culmination of 20 years of movies. It's objectively a great movie by itself. I believe it's better than Endgame. I'll just say it. Thanos is a bit cooler in Infinity War than he is in Endgame, but then I'm talking about Endgame peak. It's a peak movie. I don't have to talk much about it. I think Civil War is slightly better, but that's just my opinion. Infinity War's peak. It just is. Captain Marvel. Meh. Like, one of the most forgettable movies I've ever seen. I couldn't tell you who the main bad guy was. Like, and it doesn't help that Brie Larson is actually one of the most unlikable superheroes of all time. Like, I was going to try to be nice and play the devil's advocate for this movie, but then I remembered the Marvels as a thing. I am going to be very angry near the end of this video. I'm just going to warn you really quick. I haven't filmed it yet. This isn't a cut or anything, but I'm going to be very mad later on in the video, and it starts with Captain Marvel. It's a meh movie. It's not quite garbage, but it's like Ant-Man level. It's like right next to Ant-Man. I might put it in garbage, but Captain Marvel is a masterpiece compared to the Marvels, okay? But that's your segue into that. Avengers Endgame peak. It's going to be at the bottom of peak because it's not better than Infinity War. I don't want to spend a long... Like, we all know. It's the culmination of Marvel as a franchise. It's really good. I love it. It's an amazing movie. There's not much to say. Ended a lot of plot lines that were going on for a couple days. It's a great movie. There's not much to say. Peak. Spider-Man Far From Home. No Way Home? Far From... I hate how they name these. I'm just going to say it now. Homecoming, No Way Home, Far From Home. I don't care. This is the one with Jake Gyllenhaal playing Mysterio. It's not that good. It's probably the weakest Spider-Man movie of all time. I actually think the Andrew Garfield original Spider-Man movie is better than No Way Home. This is just bad. It really is not that good. Is it garbage? Not quite. It's more enjoyable than Captain Marvel. But it's like... It's more enjoyable than Thor. Incredible Hulk is more enjoyable. Meh. It's a perfectly meh movie. Wakanda Forever. It's good. Okay, like, we've moved past. Like, at the time, I wouldn't have rated this movie because I didn't want to seem insensitive to the passing of Chadwick Boseman. But if we're going to rank these movies objectively, it's good. It's not better than Black Panther. It simply isn't. I understand why it can't, but I'm not going to boost it up to great because, like, I just can't. Like, I would question my own opinion. Wakanda Forever is, like, it's better than... It's like Iron Man 2 level. Really. It really is. Like, the villain's kind of cool. Namor. Like, it's pretty cool, I guess. The vibranium. Like, it's good. Like, I'm sorry. If you're going to say it's a great movie, I really don't understand how we're rating these. But I'm going to put it in good. It's not a bad movie. It's not even a mad movie. It's a very enjoyable one, an emotional one. But if we're going to go through the entirety of Marvel, it's very middle of the road movie. Eternals. I forgot how absolutely dog water that movie was. Here's how funny it was. I think Eternals scared them away from doing, like, weird stuff. Eternals was something that felt so disconnected from the rest of the Marvel Universe, and they were so confident that this was going to succeed, only for it to bomb so badly that they canceled all the Eternal stuff. Dude, they had Thanos' brother in the post-credit scene, and they just didn't. They just didn't want to talk about it again because Eternals was so bad. They will never make a sequels to Eternals because of how scared they are about this movie. It's a garbage movie. I think Thor the Dark World is a better movie than Eternals. It's so bad. Like, it's really... Is it the worst one? It might be the worst one. Like, this one was so bad that I forgot it existed because I just wanted to scrub it from my memory. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Okay, this is where Marvel as a franchise, I believe, started going downhill. After Endgame, right? They started just releasing mixed bag after mixed bag. It really was. Like, it was hit or miss, and then we had 2 misses in a row, and then Marvel got scared. And I'm not even going to give them credit for their one hit, because you're going to understand why. Eternals was the start of the garbage. Multiverse of Madness, meh movie. It really was. It was a meh movie. It's better than Captain Marvel. It's better than the original Ant-Man. It's better than Thor. That's about it. Wanda's cool. I'm not going to do the TV shows purely because... Actually, no. Here's my quick opinion on all the Marvel TV shows. They are all absolute garbage except for half of WandaVision and Loki. Every other Marvel TV show is objectively just bad. It really is, bro. I hated it. Multiverse of Madness is a meh movie. I'm sorry. It sucks that the last Doctor Strange movie just was bad. It was meh, bad. Thor, Love and Thunder. Garbage. This made me hate Thor again. I'm so glad that they fired the director. It's better than Eternals. It's worse than Thor the Dark World. Thor the Dark World at least, like, functions as a dumb, fun movie. Love and Thunder is just a dumb movie. Like, it really is. Like, and they had such a cool character, the God Butcher with Kristen Bale. And they'll never revisit that again because of how bad it was. They made Thor a little bit too funny, and the entire plot was just stupid. Garbage. Oh, but Jane Foster comes back, Natalie Portman comes back, and it was dumb. I'm not even gonna... It's dumb. Black Widow. Okay. Before somebody accuses me of being like, oh, well, you just don't like female leads. Actually, I liked... I rated Wakanda Forever as a good movie. I actually don't want to hear that. Then why do you make these movies bad? Like, Captain Marvel, Brie Larson just isn't that likable. That's just a fact here. I'm sorry. That's really just how it is. Brie Larson's not likable. How did you make the Black Widow movie a decade late and then gave her some of the worst CGI I've ever seen in a movie? It's just a meh movie. Like, it's more enjoyable than Captain Marvel. Yeah, it's more enjoyable than Captain Marvel, but other than that, bad. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. The villain was forgettable as hell. I don't care, bro. Meh. It's such a meh movie. Like, I'm starting to get angry now because this is when it started going downhill. This is what I meant when I said I was going to get angry later in the video. This is the later in the video. Spider-Man No Way Home, the multiverse movie. Okay. This was a good movie. Was it a great movie? No. Because if we're going to rate it as a movie... Okay, to be a great movie, you have to be a good movie by itself. To be a peak movie, you have to be great movie as a standalone and a great movie as a superhero movie. This was the last, like, really good movie. Okay, like, I'm going to put this above Black Panther. I enjoyed this more... No, I actually enjoyed it. It's almost great. It's almost a great... Actually, I'm putting it in great. I'm sorry, I am absolutely falling apart. But you know what? I'll put it in great because of how bad just about everything else is after this. It's a great movie. Andrew Garfield comes back. Tobey Maguire comes back. The plot's weak. It just is. Jamie Foxx comes back as Electro, which is an underrated villain, by the way. William Dafoe comes back as the Goblin, which is perfectly well rated. It's goated. It's a great movie. My heart has softened. Shang Chi... criminally underrated. What a great movie, dude. I'm actually going to put this movie in great because of how criminally underrated this movie was. If you haven't seen Shang-Chi, you need to watch it. It's such a good movie. It works as a movie. Like, you don't need it connected to other Marvel movies for it to good, and it really isn't. Because Marvel was not confident that Shang-Chi was going to do well, and then when it did do well, they were like, oh, wow, Shang-Chi's going to be part of the Avengers. I'm not even kidding you. That's what they said afterwards. Good villain, good hero, great fight choreography. I didn't like some of, like, the hidden portal stuff. That was dumb. But it was it's the bottom of great. Bottom of great. I'm going to put it right there. Ant-Man Quantumania, bro. Okay. Deep breath, Ethan. Deep breath. Garbage! What was this, bro? I hate Ant-Man. I hate the Ant-Man's franchise. You bury it. You let Paul Rudd retire. Get rid of Kang. It's just garbage, bro. This actually makes me garbage, bro. Eternals. Eternals barely is better than you, but Quantumania is just barely discombobulated garbage. It's so bad. It's not the worst Marvel movie, but it's just... Eternals works as a plot, but like it's almost as bad as Eternals. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I'm going to say it. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, it was the last peak movie they ever made. It is the greatest Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and I would put it as one of the best movies Marvel's ever made. This is what I mean by that. Guardians of the Galaxy works great as a standalone movie. Yeah, I said it. If you just watch Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, and 3... that would be a good trilogy. That's how good Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is. Very heartfelt, made me cry. It's a great movie, dude. No, it's not great. It's a peak movie, dude. It's barely... Sorry, I had the burp. I had some coffee before this. Guardians of the Galaxy is almost better than Endgame in some types. It works better as a story by itself. It's a peak movie. It just is. It's a peak movie. Last peak of the video. Okay. The next one I'm going to cover is the Marvels. Okay. I'm going to let all my fury out on this one. Every person in this movie needs to be fired. Brie Larson needs to be taken out back, contract ripped in front of her eyes. Get rid of her. Monica Rambeau, get rid of her, bro. the Miss Marvel chick, you can keep her. She seems kind of cool. Actually, she seems kind of cool. She's the best part about this movie. Like, she's better in the Marvels because everybody else sucks than she is in her actual Miss Marvel show. The Miss Marvel show just wasn't that good. It really wasn't. Brie Larson should never be the main character of any superhero movie ever. This is such a insult of a movie. It's so bad. How does this work? Who signed off on this? What I mean by signed off, if you put me in charge of this movie and you said, hey, does the current cut of this movie meet the Marvel standard? I would say no. Never. This is worse than Eternals because this movie is insulting to you. Okay, you want to know what the sign of a bad movie is? Like, it's so bad that even, like, Disney doesn't want to sell it to you. This is the sign of a bad movie. When people working around it actively have to tell you to give it a chance. That's what they did with Miss Marvel. People hated the Miss Marvel's the best part about this movie. The Marvels movie. People hated the Marvels movie so much that Disney had to come out and say, hey, come on, please give it a chance. Because they knew this was garbage. Actual insult, dumpster, crap burger of a movie that I have ever had the displeasure of seeing in my entire life. I don't want another Captain Marvel movie. Captain Marvel is meh at best. I don't understand why you would ever make a movie again. This is such a bad movie. I am letting this air out because I believe this made me lose faith in Marvel. Like, it's that bad. Because the thought that Brie Larson as Captain Marvel is going to be one of the main players in Marvel moving forward, you have to be trolling. This is actual garbage. Terrible. Awful movie. Awful superhero movie. It fails at just about every aspect of storytelling, superhero movie, fighting, CGI, plot, everything. Everything is bad about this movie. Actual garbage, bro. Garbage, man. I want everybody fired that worked on this movie. That's how bad this movie was. And finally, to end this on a good note, I'm so glad I waited to make this video before Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine. Great. This is a great movie. I was formerly impressed by this. It does everything that a Deadpool movie is supposed to do well. It works well as a MCU movie. It works well as a movie. Hugh Jackman comes back. Hugh Jackman is the fucking man. And also, fun fact, do you know who was supposed to be in this movie, but they told no to? They wanted Brie Larson's Captain Marvel and She-Hulk to be in this movie. She-Hulk! And Ryan Reynolds threatened to walk away from the movie entirely if they did it. Because even Ryan Reynolds says that The Marvels is one of the worst movies he's ever seen. 100%. Why do we have to put characters that are obviously failing? Why do we have to put Captain Marvel, which is obviously one of the weakest superheroes in terms of writing and fan support ever? She-Hulk in this movie would have been absolute dog shit. I know where they would have put him too. They would have put him on his team, dude. They could put him on the X-Men Rejects if they immediately get killed off in the first second. Sorry, bro. Like, I'm getting a little too amped up. Deadpool and Wolverine, great movie. It's at the same level as a Shang-Chi. It's actually, Shang-Chi's better than No Way Home, and Deadpool's better than No Way Home. Yeah, I stand by that. Overall, I actually think I did really good on here. I'm going to have the full tier list right here. I actually think look at him. I don't think I had any misses on here. I did great. I deserve a subscribe for that. Yeah, no. Do yourself a favor. Do me a favor. Subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 50K by the end of the year. I got a special for that. And I wish you all have a great day. And I will see you all in the next video. Adios, everybody.